Hello, YouTubers. I received an article that I thought would make a good show, something that you'd probably be interested in, and I thought I'd just bring it to you here on the Level-Headed News channel. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. The URL for it is in the description of the video if you'd like to take a look at it or need any further information from it. Um, it's entitled Lavoy Finicum, One Cowboys Family Stand for Freedom. And this is off of Lavoy Finicum's Family Stand for Freedom.blogspot.com. And this is how it reads. Wednesday, November the 2nd of 2016. Not guilty. We got the news of the Oregon political prisoner not guilty verdict while at Liberty event in Colorado. We'd been asked to come and address the locals there a second time because, believe it or not, FBI, BLM, and Oregon agents had indeed followed us to Colorado, asking the local sheriff to be deputized so they might raid our event. The FBI, BLM, and Oregon agents were practicing irresponsible tactics of intimidation and libel with the assumed goal to silence our right of free speech. We were not made aware of these agents' inappropriate conduct until weeks after the first event in Colorado. This was because our wonderful host wanted to do her homework before she said anything to be sure she had the correct information. Our host interviewed the sheriff and then filed an open records request on July the 20th of 2016 to get a copy of the memo that was sent to the Delta City Council, interim city police, and all department heads. And there's a copy of that in this article if you'd like to take a look at that. It says, our host then went to City Delta Council meeting. She read the memo into the public record. They mentioned how they were labeled as very dangerous people. She talked of the power in words and read from the FBI's website how they are defining sovereign citizen. She then went in to get the minutes on Friday, August the 12th of 2016, and found how they did not transcribe their words. To take it a step further, there's an article in the Delta County Independent by Pat Sunderland, published August the 10th of 2016, talking about our host questioning the libel given them by this memo, published one day before they spoke with Charles Kettle, the interim police chief, on August the 11th of 2016. We were shocked that we were being followed, that the agents were seeking to intimidate and or manipulate local law enforcement so to become deputized, or that tools of slander were being used to stir up the local citizens in anger and fear for our upcoming arrival for the first event. No, agents went to such lengths using the same tactics in Eastern Oregon when Lavoy and others arrived and peacefully petitioned the government for a redress of grievances, ending with our husband and father being assassinated. Here is yet another example of agents' irresponsibility using their delegated control. After all the legwork had been done, the letter was written and sent to the Finicum representatives, communicating how we would like to a face-to-face meeting with them to discuss our situation and ways to move forward in building the disintegrating trust between the governed and those who are governing. And the copy of the letter reads, subject, my mother and I are seeking your advice and support. Dear, and then it's blank, overview of issue. My father, Lavoy Finicum, was shot and killed by Oregon state agents in coordination with federal agents on January the 26th, 2016. My mother, Jeanette, and I have been invited to speak at events around the country to give a voice to our father's death. Since then, the FBI, BLM, and Oregon agents are practicing irresponsible tactics of intimidation and libel with the assumed goal to silence my mother and my right of free speech. They have libelously labeled us as an irresponsible group known as sovereign citizens, and they have sought to be deputized and raid an event held for us outside of their jurisdiction. My mother and I are seeking to remedy these irresponsible actions through your advice and support. We sincerely desire and seek a relationship process that includes rebuilding trust between us and our governors. The history of the issue. A meeting took place roughly around June the 20th to the 28th, 2016, involving the FBI, BLM, Oregon State, and Delta County agents. We do not know who organized the meeting in Grand Junction, Colorado, Mesa County, but it has been assumed the FBI, BLM, and Oregon officials led the meeting. Delta County Sheriff Fred McKee and Charles Kettle, who is the Delta, Colorado interim police chief, attended the meeting. Barbara Hewlett, organizer of the event for my mother and I, along with other individuals, met with Sheriff McKee and Chief Kettle to confirm the meeting and their attendance. The sheriff and police chief were very concerned about not disclosing any names of the agents who were there or any other details, such as who organized the meeting, why it was organized, when the exact date and location was, etc. They did disclose how the agents were asked permission to conduct a raid on the symposium that was being held at the Delta Fireside Inn, 820 Highway 92 in Delta, Colorado, Delta County, scheduled for July the 6th of 2016. Fortunately, the Delta Sheriff Fred McKee and Charles Kettle, the interim police chief, did not give them permission to raid the event. They expressed how many people in the event would be carrying a firearm on their person and how they had a right to do so. Barbara thanked the sheriff and expressed how there were children at this event, including my children and Barbara Hewlett's daughter. Barbara Hewlett found a memo labeling all those who attended the July 6th symposium as sovereign citizens. This memo was sent out to the Delta City Council, interim city police, and all department heads. She filed an open record request on July the 20th of 2016 to get a copy of that memo. It says see attached. This memo was dated June the 28th of 2016, 8 days before the event that I, Theratini, spoke at. It specifically stated how my father, Lavoy Finicum, was labeled as a sovereign citizen and how his wife, Jeanette Finicum, would be in attendance. There is no evidence my father was a member of or made any public declaration in support for sovereign citizens. He always instructed us to be responsible citizens with a responsible government. On August the 2nd, Rosemary Anderson, Bev Watts, and Barbara Hewlett, individuals who helped organize the July 6th symposium, and I, at the FBI wanted to raid, went to the city of Delta's council meeting. They read a memo into the public record. They mentioned how they were labeled as very dangerous people. Rosemary talked of the power in words and read from FBI's website how they are defining sovereign citizen. Bev Watts spoke of how they don't belong to or support any such groups. When Rosemary, Donna, and Barbara Hewlett went in to get the minutes on Friday, August the 12th of 2016, they found how they did not translate their words. Here is the link to the minutes, also see attached, and the link is here if you'd like to click on that and read that. The article goes on and says, when Barbara Hewlett, Rosemary, and Donna Bilko spoke face-to-face with Charles Kettle, the interim police chief, about the memo, he said he told the city manager, David Torgler, to send out the memo and that he, Charles Kettle, is taking full responsibility for the memo, despite the fact that Torgler, the city manager, is his boss. And speaking with Charles Kettle, the police chief, he expressed he did not fully understand the meeting being labeled sovereign citizens. Rosemary told him he needed to write a letter to the editor apologizing, and Chief Kettle said he would have to have that approved by his boss, Mr. David Torgler, city manager. whose name is on the memo. The apology has not taken place as of 9/1/2016. Here's a link to the article in the Delta Independent by Pat Sunderland, published August 10th, 2016, talking about these three women questioning the libel given them by this memo, published one day before they spoke with Charles Kettle, the interim police chief, on August the 11th of 2016. And you can click on that link and read that part of it if you'd like. It says, who is inflicted by the intimidation and libel? Colorado citizens Barbara Hewlett, Donna Bilko, Rosemary Anderson, David Justice, Bev Watts, and Betty Oglesby. Colorado County government agent Sheriff Fred McKee and Police Chief Charles Kettle. Arizona citizen Jeanette Finicum, the wife of Lavoy Finicum. Utah citizen Theratini, the oldest daughter of Lavoy Finicum. This irresponsible intimidation and libel is both unacceptable and bordering on harmful, and it needs to stop. My declaration. I, Theratini, the oldest daughter of Lavoy Finicum, was the main speaker at this symposium. My speech is titled Habits of the Heart, a Perpetuation of Freedom. In this speech, I talk of my father, Lavoy Finicum, who he truly was, that enabled him to be a powerful voice for freedom, what got him to Oregon, what he was accomplishing in Oregon, and I ended with the invitation for others to do their due diligence to maintain our republic as responsible citizens. I'm a citizen following the law within the boundaries of a Republican form of government. I rejected any form of government where the government or the governors misuse government irresponsibly. I reject soundly forms of government supported by any governed who claim they are without law and who consider themselves sovereign and without government. I reject soundly forms of government supported by any governor who claim that the governed are subject to all laws, regardless of abuse and irresponsible application, and who subsequently take advantage of the governed ignorance and irresponsible reactions. Examples of irresponsible governors: Baltimore, Mayor Let It Burn. Ferguson, Governor, 48 hours before support. Burns, FBI flying around firing at my father. I call for a fresh new era of pro-responsible government by both the governed and the governors. It is very clear how the governed are sensing this modern irresponsibility and are reacting the best they know how. I say stop abusing their ignorance and stop abusing their trust, stop the intimidation and the slander. The government, it is being misused by irresponsible governors to intimidate my mother as we are being followed by them, having our reputation and character libeled and slandered by them, and intimidating citizens and governors of other states. My children were put in harm's way as the FBI sought the blessings from the local sheriff to raid our event. We will continue to remain steadfast. We will continue sharing our account of my mother and my father's voice. We refuse to have his voice buried along with his body. We claim our right to freedom of speech, free from intimidation by those entrusted with the reins of our government. My father's support of pro-responsible government. Visit his YouTube channel, Lavoy Finicum. And it goes on to say, we are not just a bunch of wannabe anarchists who don't believe in government. Contrary, I believe in the government. I believe in the federal government. We need the federal government in the proper place. I believe in government. I believe in federal government. We need the federal government. How else are we going to protect our country? I believe in proper relationship between the states and the federal government and the counties. What you can do for us. We would like to know any unknown details about the Colorado event meeting of FBI, BLM, Oregon State, and Delta County agents, such as who organized the meeting, who was in attendance, and how any such irresponsible governors are going to be held accountable, such as the IRS targeting conservative groups, etc. We would like an inquiry into what criteria was used to link my mother any aforenamed Colorado citizens and myself to an abhorrent group known as sovereign citizens. We would like to know we are on a list linking us to this irresponsible group, and if so, where is this list? What is the criteria for placement on the list? What is the process for removal? And would you handle that? We would sue, etc. We would like to, or let's see, we would like you to ask the House Speaker and Senate President pro tempore for a joint citizens commission to study and recommend clearly defined boundaries of what is and is not domestic and or so-called right-wing extremism in relation to the abhorrent group known as sovereign citizens. We would like an inquiry into the Department of Justice's criteria for labeling domestic homegrown or so-called right-wing extremist, intergovernment coordination for interdicting those labeled as domestic, homegrown, and so-called right-wing extremists, and what remedies or appeals exist for those governed who find themselves labeled as such. We would like a face-to-face meeting with you to discuss our situation and ways to move forward in building the disintegrating trust between the government and those who are governing. Be assured our request is sincere, and it is our hope to find ways to rebuild and bridge the gap that exists. Our pain is palpable, but our resolve to improve the future is concrete. We would like to do this together. My declaration, I call for an end to irresponsible governors using intimidation and borderline libelous slander that is injuring me, their attendee, and my mother, Jeanette Finicum, and hindering and restricting our freedom of speech. I will forever support my father's view of pro-responsible government, and I intend to continue to promote his view of pro-responsible government nationwide. I declare and pledge my allegiance and responsibility to support, keep, and maintain a pro-responsible government, the United States of America. Yours affectionately, with with humility and resolve. So there you have that article on, and I thought that was worth reading to you, and I hope you enjoyed that. Please give this a thumbs up and a share. Thanks. Bye.